So let's dive right into today's podcast episode on how to lose those last 5, 10, 20 pounds of body fat. This is probably the most common email and question I get asked is I've gotten to this point. Actually, okay, let me just stop. We're not diving right in, guys. I only did that specifically because of what this podcast is all about, to totally break up patterns, habitual thinking, and to make you stop and be present, be like, holy crap, what is going on? Like, where's the intro? We're diving right in. Oh, and it's not Monday. She normally sends this on Mondays. What's going on? Yeah, breaking up the habitual mental thought patterns that are going on. So in a second, we can talk about today's podcast episode. So welcome to the Phoenix Rising podcast. I am Ashley Drummond, your host. I am so excited to talk to you because I could talk about weird mindset, nutrition, fitness stuff all day long and never get bored. I got an email this week from a gentleman. Actually, I got one from a gentleman and from a woman about getting rid of those last 5 to 10, 20 pounds of body fat, feeling stuck, feeling like they hit a plateau. So this was the perfect opportunity to make this the podcast episode. I'm going to say this now while you're alert and fresh and present, and then I'll say it again at the end. If you are looking for help with losing body fat and building lean muscle, breaking through mental patterns, go to ashleydrummondscoaching.com/apply. Select a day and time on my calendar that you and I will hop on a one-on-one phone call. We'll go over your goals. We'll talk about what's got you stuck, how to break through that, and come up with a crystal clear strategy plan. When you do that, there's going to be a bit of an intake form where I'm going to ask you some very specific, detailed questions so that I can get a better understanding of where you're at, what hasn't been working, what's keeping you stuck. And then when we hop on the call, we'll go through all of that together. So again, that's ashleydrummondscoaching.com/apply. Select a date and time on my calendar. The call is free. Think of it like a consultation. And you and I will talk about your fitness, nutrition, and mindset goals. All right. So I'm actually not even going to do like an intro, outro, all that. We are really just going to dive right in and break things up. I'm actually having to pause this a few times and drink so much water because I've been talking so much this week. So a few of you guys sent me messages and were like, hey, what's up with this new moon stuff? Like, I don't really know what all this means. So if you don't know about this, we did have a new moon that happened on the 6th. I think it was either Sunday into Monday or Monday into Tuesday. So new moons basically are representative of new cycles. But so for a lot of people, this one specifically was very much about endings and beginnings. And pretty much it can be like a physical representation. So maybe an ending of something like in your physical life, or it can be an emotional, energetic ending. It can be a mental thought pattern, an old way of thinking, and new beginnings on how you're going to start thinking, which is very, very perfect for what this episode is all about. But so we did have that this last week, October 6th, like I said. So I don't know what your week was. I don't know what happened, but I've had a lot of calls with a lot of people that are like, I don't really know much about like this energetic stuff, but is there something going on this week? And I'm like, yes, there is. You are not alone. It's okay. There's a lot of people experiencing this, and it serves you if you allow it. It's an opportunity for growth and for things like this, breaking through plateaus. So earlier this week, I received this email from a gentleman who said he wants to lose about 10 to 15 pounds of body fat. He did really good getting the first like 20 to 30 pounds off, but he feels like he's kind of plateaued. He's been eating healthy. He's been working out regularly, and he really wants to get down to a specific body weight that he feels better at. And he's not really sure what to do. I also, a couple days later, got an email from a woman who said the same thing. So this gentleman wants to lose about 15 pounds. The woman that emailed me, she said the same thing, that she wants to lose these last 10 pounds of body fat. She's been doing lifting workouts. She's working out 3 or 4 times a week. She's also eating generally healthy, but she feels stuck and she's not really sure how to switch things up. So it's perfect because a lot of people get to this point and it's kind of for me, I'm not going to say it's fun, but it is a fun thing to navigate because the things we have to do in order to really help you break through that plateau are not typically things you think that you have to do. So with any plateau in life, and this is exactly how I responded to these emails, as I said, any plateau in life, you have to do things totally different. You cannot get to the next level with your fitness or anything else by continuing to do the same things you've been doing. It's a loop. It's a pattern. Think of it like the Matrix. Like you have to break the loop in order to do that. So when it comes to your workouts, believe it or not, typically your workouts are the last thing that I look at when people let me know that like, hey, I want to lose 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds of body fat. How do I change my workout? I'm like, actually, that's probably 3 on the list of the things we're going to look at. We're going to look at some stuff mindset wise. We're going to look at your nutrition because that's normally where it starts. But if you're right now like, well, what can I do right now with my workout just to switch it up? There's a million things you can do to switch things up. You can change your rep scheme. You can, instead of high reps, low weight, do high weight, low reps. Here's a fun one if you totally want to shock your body. So let's say that you're doing back squats. Let's say normally you do 5 sets of 8 of whatever weight it is, and you do it with 60 to 90 seconds rest in between, right? So you've been in this pattern, in this motion, 5 sets of 8, 60 to 90 sets of rest in between. You want to totally throw your brain for a loop and like shock your body. Do the exact same thing, but take out all your rest time. So what I mean by that, I told somebody this recently and they were like, what? I'm like, yeah, you want to totally knock off your plateau with your workouts? Do this. So 5 sets of 8, 5 times 8, it's 40 reps. Take whatever weight you were doing with those 5 sets and do 40 reps. So it's the same amount of reps, except for with no rest time. Do it as fast as you can and see if you are not sweating your butt off and your body is totally confused as to why it's not getting the rest time. And I guarantee you're going to be sore for days. So with your workouts, you can do things like that. It doesn't take much. You can reverse your workouts. The exercise you normally do last, do it first. Reverse your whole workout. Just do anything different. The thing though, with plateaus is our mind creates habitual thought patterns because patterns are safe. Patterns are safe and patterns are predictable. This is why we have routines. This is why we take the same route to get to work or to get somewhere every single day. Why we listen to the same music. We talk to the same friends. We eat the same foods. We do the same exercise because it's habitual. And there's some positive sides of having routines. But when you're in a plateau, you're stuck because you're doing the same things all the time. Now, specifically, when people come to me for things like this, so it's one thing if you're looking to lose like 50, 80, 100 pounds, like we just got to get you moving. We got to clean up your nutrition and we just got to like put you in motion. When it comes to those last 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds though, number one spot I go to is your mindset. And here's the reason is because every single time I'm like, what's interesting is you're telling me like, I feel kind of stuck and I've hit this plateau. I got a question for you. Are you also feeling stuck in a loop and going through the motions in other areas of your life? Like you're just in this glitch and you don't know how to get out. And it's not that things are necessarily bad, but you definitely realize like you are coasting. You're not really hitting any highs and you're not really hitting any lows because those last few pounds usually are a representation of something going on mentally and emotionally. So I've talked about this in plenty of other podcasts, the energetic body, the emotional body, and our physical body. And I either already talked about this or this was an Instagram post. Or maybe it was a client conversation. I don't remember. But basically what I was explaining is things like this, when you hit a brick wall or a glass ceiling, these are physical representations of what is going on emotionally and mentally. So while your initial instinct and your intuitive response is, oh, I need to change my workouts, you can, But that's a very temporary fix to something that's going on inside. So the last thing I look at is what your workout routines are. The first thing I look at is what your nutrition and your mindset are, because those are the two internal factors. We have to change your mindset and we have to change the foods that you're eating. So the internal response produces a different external outcome. Your workouts are simply how we move through and process the new energy. So that's why it's number 3 on the list and not number 1. So let's talk about this. So like I said, if you're stuck with a plateau, you got those last few pounds of body fat that don't seem to be moving, here's the sequence of events you need to take a look at. You have number 1, your mindset, your thought patterns, and your belief systems, what those patterns are. Number 2, your nutrition and diet and the food you're consuming. And then last, number 3 is going to be your workout structure. So we'll dive into some of these. All of these are very personalized. So I'm going to give you kind of like the overview of all of them because each one is specific to your individual circumstances. So number 1 with mindset, the problem going on with the stuck patterns, it's not necessarily like your thoughts, your emotions, your life, and all these things. The problem is you probably are not taking the time to be alone, to sit and be present with what is going on. So you're acting almost like a robot on autopilot where you're not even aware of where your thinking and processes are. So one of the things that I bring up for people, and here's what happens, is because our minds are structured for survival and protection. So when we create thought patterns, and this might be a lot, but just stick with me. When we create a new thought pattern, so let's say we have a new thought. Say you've been thinking for a long time, you're stuck. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. The first time you have this thought, your brain doesn't create a pattern because it's new, so it doesn't really recognize it as important. I definitely know I've talked about this. The more you continue to have that thought, your brain flags it as important, so it literally constructs a neurological connection of, oh, we need to hardwire this into the brain because she keeps repeating it. Therefore, it must be important for survival. So we create a pattern out of this. We create these thoughts in present moments in times of emotional experiences or just out of habit. We keep doing the same thing over and over. In order to even understand what those thoughts and patterns are that are happening, you have to be in the present moment. So one of the questions, and this isn't necessarily related to fitness, but when people get stuck and they're in a lot of the coaching that I do is where I just help you break through this in a lot of areas. So when people get stuck in these patterns and they don't know what to do, the first thing across the board is you're probably making decisions based on past experiences because it's familiar territory. Your brain wants safety in familiar territory. It's not going to volunteer to go in unfamiliar and unknown places. The problem with this is you are trying to break into new territory with old thought patterns. So the question that I pose is when you're stuck or you're hitting a plateau, think of whatever situation this might be in and ask yourself, if I had no past, if my past didn't exist, and I was right here in this moment, what would I do about this situation? What would I do about this process? And here's the thing is like when we're kids, it's easy for us to do that because we have no context of the right way of doing things or the wrong way of doing things. So like you go through an experience, nobody tells you or you never see the right way to process an experience. You just process it as each moment comes and goes. What happens though is as we become adults, we start observing and paying attention and absorbing other people's patterns and thoughts, and we make them our own experiences that we almost like stunt our own natural processes. So when you're in a situation, okay, let's talk about like a job or a career situation. You're trying to move forward. You've been stuck going through the motions, so you're trying to move forward, but I guarantee you more than likely, you're probably applying for jobs and looking at opportunities based on what you've already done and what you already know. Why? Because it's your past. You're thinking in past patterns. You're trying to do something new and you can't seem to figure that out because your mind is conditioned based on your past. So get present, and meditation obviously is always the greatest way to get present. and ask yourself, if I had no past, based on who I know that I am right now in this present moment, the things that I like, the things that I love, the things that light me up and make me happy, that I'm super passionate about in this present moment, what would I look at? What would I go after? What would I do? What would I choose? And your brain will start to think differently, because it's not looking at like, all right, what do I know? I have experience in this. I have experience in that. This is what I've always done. And then you're like, God, I'm stuck though. Well, you're stuck because maybe that's not what you want to do anymore. And you're trying to go to a new level, but you're making decisions on past experiences. So you have to look at that. And the way you do this in meditation is you sit in silence and you just observe. So I actually told a client of mine on a call a couple weeks ago, I said, all right, your homework, I want you to sit and give permission that every single thought and emotion is allowed. Everything. Good, bad, ugly, nice, happy, sad, whatever, right, wrong. It doesn't matter. Just give it permission. You create the problem when you try and stop your thoughts, or you start to label them or identify them as good, bad, right, or wrong. Where when you allow the space to just be present and just be there, instead of attaching to them or identifying to them, you actually stop becoming the thought pattern, or you stop being the thought pattern and you become the observer. And now you have a choice. Well, what thought do I want to continue with? Which direction do I want to go? The other reason we look at mindset first is because a lot of times those last 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds that get stuck that you can't seem to break through are actually unprocessed emotions that are going on. And the reason being is because, like I said, your body usually is a physical representation of what's going on internally, mentally, and emotionally. So every time, I don't care if it's a man or a woman, we get to this point and I start asking questions to probe an emotional response, not like a bully, but just like, all right, let me ask you some questions. Like, let's get to the bottom of this and find out what's going on. As soon as I get the emotional trigger, and that emotional trigger for me is usually tears, people start crying on the call. And I ask, why are you crying? Not judgmentally, but like, all right, we found the spot. We struck a chord. Why are you crying? And every time it's like, I'm terrified. I'm scared. I'm like, why are you scared? Like, well, I've never done this kind of mindset work. And this is stuff that happened to me like 20 years ago that I've never dealt with. Or this is something that really hurt me 5 years ago, but I've never dealt with it. And that's exactly why we have to do it. Because it is creating a physical response that keeps you stuck. And the only way we can do it with getting the last 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds off physically is to process the things emotionally and energetically. When we do that, you not only will feel emotionally lighter, like people talk about, like, man, it just feels like a shoulder, or not a shoulder, a weight is lifted off my shoulders. It's because you physically have processed emotional and mental energy and weight, that you will also find that that weight just starts to drop off so fast physically because you're not holding on to it anymore. So we have to get to that point. And again, like I said, I can't just be like, okay, here's how you do this, because it's so personal to you and your experience. You've got something, if you're stuck and you've got 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds that are just sitting there that you can't get off, and you're working out and you're eating clean or generally healthy and it's just staying there, guarantee you, you've got an energetic, emotional, or mental block that you are refusing to look at. But the only way to help you get through that and break through that plateau is to look at it face on, deal with it, process it. And then the last thing, number 3, is we use your workouts to move through it. It physically helps release all of that from your body. And this is why a lot of the people that I work with, they get incredible transformations really fast, not necessarily because it's like, there are different approaches that I use, but it's because like we're doing stuff that nobody else is really going to force you to do. Everybody else is going to give you a cookie cutter meal plan and a structured workout program, which I can do that too. But if you're stuck, it's got to go a lot deeper than that, my friend. Like we got to actually hit those triggers, work through them, and process them. So So that's the main thing. And that was my response to both of these people that sent me this email. And I'm like, all right, so let's hop on a call and let's get deep and let's talk about this. And I'll be honest with you if I can help you, because the only way I can help you is if you actually want to be helped. And then we're going to get really close, really fast. And you're going to have to trust me that I'm not going to judge whatever comes up. And we're going to work through it together. And I'm going to show you how to move past this. So that's your mindset component that you have to work through. Number 2 is the nutrition. Your nutrition is the secondary internal response that creates the external results. If you are filling your body with things that bring you comfort, they just make you feel good, they're easy, it's probably, again, rewind this and go back to number 1. It's because you're looking for emotional comfort and things to just make you feel good somehow because you don't feel good mentally and emotionally. So if you're using food for that, you are further validating to hold on to this energy and this response that you don't really care if the food helps heal your body, fuel your body, and move you in the direction of your goals. You're just looking for whatever tastes good and to give you temporary relief from the deeper mental and emotional dissatisfaction that you feel. And I mean, that's the hard truth. I actually, I had a consultation this week and I actually told somebody that. I said, look, my job is to help you, and I just need to know, do I have permission to speak truthfully and honestly, but also empathizing with your situation? They were like, well, yeah, of course. That's why I want to be on this call. I said, all right, here's the truth. You're using food the same way people use drugs as a way to numb out the deeper emotional and mental pain that you're experiencing. If you want my help, you have to be willing to do the mental and emotional work with me. Then we'll take care of your nutrition and then we'll take care of your food. But if you're not willing to look at that and you're just looking for a quick meal plan to drop a couple pounds, I'm not your girl. And it's the same thing for you. People want to know exactly what to eat. And after we figure out what's going on with your body, I absolutely can help you with that. But you have to first be 100% honest with yourself and accept the fact, am I using the easy way out with food, or am I using food, alcohol, whatever, as a way to numb out what's actually going on inside? So that's the second thing that we look at. And then, of course, number 3 is your workouts. Your workouts are just the way that we process and move energy through the body. So if you're coasting and you're not really pushing yourself much with workouts, more than likely, it's because it's safe. It's a pattern. Like, yeah, you sweat and yeah, you're doing the workout, but it's not totally going to break you down mentally and emotionally. This is also why working with a coach in any area that you're trying to break free from can really help you. And I actually personally did this recently over the last 2 months, because it's not that I felt like I had plateaued. I just recognized, you know what, like I really want to set a goal for myself in these different areas of my life. And I want it to be just a little ridiculous in like how far it's going to stretch me, but not so ridiculous that I don't believe it's possible. And that's kind of this like 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds to lose that. That's not insane. You can totally do it, but you are going to have to stretch yourself further than you did before. So I wanted to do this, like I talked about before with my back squat. And I don't ever work with other people in the fitness industry because there's not a whole lot of people that have a similar mindset around it. But I was like, all right, I want to up 30 pounds in my back squat. That's a little out there and ridiculous because I've been training for so long. It's a lot harder to do this. But I also know it's not impossible. But I also am going to be really honest with myself that I cannot continue to do the same squatting that I've been doing over the last 15 years to get there. So I found a guy that trains strongman competitors and power lifters with this. And I sat down with him. I walked right in and I was like, you don't have to sell me. I don't need your sales pitch. Here's what I want to do. This is the number I want to hit on my back squat. And I'm going to work with you every single week. And I want you to help me get there. And he was like, okay, let's do it. And I'm not even kidding you. The first session I did with him, I have not been pushed that hard in a long time that I was almost in tears because of how hard I was being pushed. But also I was like, yep, it's exactly what I asked for. It's exactly what I wanted. Thank you very much. And now he's been helping me with my squat for the last 8 weeks, and I am 100% stronger in all of my lifts just because it wasn't, and this is what I'm talking about. It wasn't about the squat. It wasn't about any of that. It was just somebody giving me a totally different, fresh perspective that had no past experience with me that was totally going to break up my mental patterns. That was it. Like, look, you don't know me. I don't know you. I know you train strongman competitors. I know you train power lifters. You have a totally different style than I do. So I know whatever you give me is not going to be what I've been doing. And that's exactly what I need to throw my whole pattern and mindset just like out the door and to put me on a new path. And that's what I've been doing. And it's the same thing with you. And that's why, like, a lot of these people that send in emails, when I talk to them, you subconsciously are aware of that. You're subconsciously mindful enough that you know, all right, I can't do this on my own. I can't, like, I've been doing what I know to do, but what I know to do is not getting me where I need to be. And this is why coaching is important, because you're working with somebody that has no past. I don't have your emotional story and your past thinking patterns. All I have is you right here in the present moment and where you're telling me where you want to go. And it's very easy for me to just like walk right in and be like, all right, yep, this is what we're doing, because I can see all of this and I have no story behind that. So I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. And then you're probably going to cry with me more than you've cried with anybody else, not because I'm pushing you, but because we're going to break through some stuff and take a look at some stuff that you haven't been willing to look through in a really long time. So your workouts, all those are, think of a workout like moving water. If you have still water and you're trying to clean the dirt out, you can't clean the dirt out without moving the water. You got to first find where the dirt is. You got to see it for what it is. Maybe figure out, where did this come from? How did the dirt get in here? Why is this tank so nasty? You got to probably give it some sort of like cleaning chemicals or something like that. And then you got to take a filter and you got to clean it out. Think of like the cleaning out process, your workouts. Like, all right, we've done this. The water can't stay still any longer. We're going to move some stuff around, make some changes. That's all your workouts are, which is why you probably have better workouts when you're angry, because you have the emotion of anger fueling the physical workout that you're doing. All right, so back to the emails that I received this week. And just to recap, if you are also at that place, you're like, man, I feel like I've hit a plateau. I got 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds to lose of body fat, and it's just been stuck here for a while. Number one, take a look at your mindset, or just simply ask yourself like, do I kind of feel like I'm stuck in other areas in my career, in my relationships, in my friendships? Does everything kind of just feel like it's going through the motion too? If you can say yes, then there's proof to you of like, well, crap, this isn't just like a fitness thing. Like, this is something going on internally, and you got to be honest and take responsibility for it. Accept it. Is it possible that your entire external world is reflecting what's going on internally? Yes, it is. Yes, it does suck when you acknowledge that. Yes, it's hard to do the mental and emotional work, but if you ever want to break through a plateau, this is how you're going to have to do it. Number 2, ask yourself, look at the food that you're eating. Is this an easy way out, giving me comfort and support? Or is this food, I have people too that have food anxiety. They do the opposite. They have fears, they have insecurities, and it comes out in their food. Is my food at all a representation of something going on internally and mentally? Maybe. And then number 3, my workouts. Am I coasting in my workouts? Am I doing the exact same thing every single time? Because again, it represents me coasting in other areas of my life. So this is the last story I'll tell about a client, just in relation to, maybe it applies to your life as well. And if she's listening to this, I love you. I'm so proud of you. You've come so far. She is somebody that's been with me for a really, really long time, and she's been stuck for a while. Like, she had a huge amount of weight loss and growth and everything going on, and then she just got stuck at this place. And long story short, she had a lot of emotional grief that she had not processed. And I think our second call together, maybe, I was like asking all these questions, going through it, and I was like, And her eyes started watering. I was like, do you feel like you have actually allowed yourself to feel that pain and process what happened, even though it was 3-4 years ago? And she just started crying and she's like, nope, not at all. I was like, yeah, we got to work through that to really help you work through what's going on with your weight and this stuff with your fitness. But I asked her, and it's such an interesting process because as soon as we triggered that, it's like, crap. Now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it. Here it is. This is the problem. Now I got to work through it. And it was weeks. It was weeks of her constantly being like, God, I'm terrified. I'm terrified. I'm uncomfortable. I don't like the way this feels. I feel vulnerable. And every week we got on a call, I said, I know it's freaking scary. And a lot of people are not brave enough to go down that path and feel and acknowledge and be honest about what's going on. But I'm so proud of you because as you do this, you are opening up so much space to create freedom, to break through this plateau that's going to put you on the path to what you really want. But to get to the path of what you really want, you have to do the scary, terrifying thing to get there. And it's to look at what's going on mentally and emotionally. That's number one. So while you may have started listening to this episode thinking like, all right, she's going to tell me like, here, cut out these foods, eat this, like, here's your workout plan. I do that. And I can do that for you if you want to work with me as your coach. But this is the hard truth that most other coaches and people out there probably won't tell you. Number one, you got to look at your mindset and your emotions. It's not what anybody wants to hear, but that's the truth. And I want to see you be happy and succeed and be your best self and transform and hit your goals. And this is how you're going to have to do that, is sit down by yourself alone, remove all distractions, give yourself the space that whatever thought and emotion comes up, it's allowed to come up. Ask yourself, how long have I been feeling stuck? And be honest, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 20 years? How long have I felt stuck? Okay. Now ask yourself, what happened that long ago that was either emotional or mental, anything that comes up, and just trust whatever answer comes up. What happened when you started to get stuck? Well, 5 years ago, I lost my job. 3 years ago, I got out of this relationship. 2 years ago, I lost a family member or a pet or something, whatever comes up, and ask yourself, did I then in that moment, because I had this emotional or mental pain that I was not ready to feel or process, so instead I created habitual thought patterns and eating patterns and workout patterns to stay safe? More than likely the answer is yes. And then when you get there and you recognize that and you're honest with yourself, maybe now you're in a place, and that's what happens. People hit the plateau 1 year ago, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago when it happened. You were not ready to process the things mentally and emotionally and energetically, and that's fine. But if it's coming up for you now that you feel stuck and you recognize that you've been stuck and you recognize that you're at a plateau, it means you're ready. It means now you're ready. You don't need to take the safe route. Now you're ready to do what needs to be done. And the hard, scary part a lot of people struggle with is they are terrified of letting go of the identity that is attached to the life they have created, however many years that it's been there, that keeps them stuck. Isn't that crazy? Like, I've been studying all this stuff with Buddhism and I've been reading this book and it's like super awesome. And it's nothing new, but it's just so interesting because it's letting go of emotions, but more importantly, it's letting go of the identity and the entire life we had as that person and moving into who we really want to be, which who we all really want to be is strong, confident, empowered. We want to feel 100% like our best self. But in order to get there, you have to let go of the emotions, the mindset, the life, the identity that you created out of patterns and safety. And you have to be willing to take a hard look at what's going on inside. And I am more than happy to help you with that. But like I always say, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be your best friend, but I'm also going to be the person that probably like makes you feel more than you've ever felt. And we get deeper and deeper on every call, but I can promise you, as we do that, you will become more and more the person you want to become. And I said at the beginning, if you want to work with me in that aspect, go to ashleyDrummondsCoaching.com/apply and select a date and time on my calendar. And you and I will hop on a call, just a consultation, one-on-one, and we'll talk about it. And I'll be honest with you about whether or not I think you're ready and whether or not I can help you. But if you fit the role of these individuals that had emailed me this week about wanting to lose the last 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds of body fat that you've just been stuck at, this is where you start. This is the beginning process of that. And then when you want to get deeper and you want to really do the work and you really want to get clear on your nutrition and your workouts and your mindset and all the healing process to get you there, then come talk to me. All right. Thank you so much for listening to this. Speaking of breaking through plateaus, it's squat day for me and I'm about to go get my butt kicked in the best way possible. I'm super excited about it, but I appreciate the emails. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being a part of this podcast because that's the only reason that I do it, is just to be here to help inspire and empower you and provide you tools to do that. And until next week, I will see you in the next episode.